All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Merrill Chandler here, your host of the Get Fundable universe. And I'm here to talk to you about this week's news update. Here's what's crazy. The Wall Street Journal came out with a really extensive article that talks about is FICO scores hold on the credit markets declining? Is it lessening? And so I got to tell you, what's fascinating about this is that they're moving more and more lender software. Everybody who is measuring a borrower's a credit viability, their fundability, are using the borrower behaviors and other metrics that we've been discussing out forever, and the score is becoming less and less important. Now, part of this is driven, as we've been discussing over the last few weeks, part of this is driven by the administration's focus on credit invisibles, right? 50 plus million Americans who do not have access to the current credit markets, therefore don't have a FICO score because their FICO, generally speaking, in the traditional scheme of things, FICO only measures credit accounts, not service provider accounts. Now, FICO's been expanding with FICO Ultra into measuring rent payments and cell phones and et cetera, other types of non-credit instrument payments. But to this moment, what we call the traditional credit market are lenders who report to the credit bureaus, and FICO measures the credit bureau data. Now, the administration has talked about the public credit registry, not a replacement of the old system, but in addition to the old system to address this credit invisibles marketplace. And because that is becoming a thing, then lenders are starting to address. Remember, I talked about earlier that after Biden made that announcement, and that now Biden has been and his administration have been working with some of the big banks to start accepting data to this, what would become this credit registry, where Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, among other tier 2 lenders will start delivering internal performance data to this new credit registry. Remember, internal performance data is the data, not just the payment history, but checking account amounts and saving account amounts, and what we call in the boot camp the 124, the new 1247 strategy, the new zero. All this internal data that each of these banks have on borrowers, those don't include credit, because somebody who's in the credit invisibles marketplace could have a savings account, right? They might have a CD. They might have a prepaid debit card at any one of these tier 1 or tier 2 banks. That's the data that the new credit registry wants to collect, because it is non-traditional data, and they don't have to have already, the borrower doesn't have to have already been approved by a for a credit card, auto loan, or otherwise in the traditional market. Well, in this article, everything that the Wall Street Journal is talking about, it's fascinating, because everybody seems to be moving more and more towards just the internal performance data, more than just the, whatever you call it, the 35 data points that are being reported to the bureaus and scored by FICO. Now, here's the other thing, and you guys know how much I tease and harangue and harass the FICO scores, right? And the chief FICO score among them was I talk about VantageScore, which as published by Credit Karma, and others use it as well. And so a FICO score, by definition, if everybody's clear, the FICO score is one thing and one thing only. Any score lenders do not use in evaluating you for an approval, right? It's a FICO score if lenders don't use it. Well, the VantageScore has not been a viable score out there in the past, but it's gaining traction. In fact, right now, in this article, it talks about that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are evaluating VantageScore's a mortgage model to be also included in addition to FICO's. Now, that right there is a monumental move to legitimize the VantageScore for, at least in this case, mortgages. Now, VantageScore has the exact same types of different models and different versions that FICO has. They have a mortgage version, right? They have, I believe they even have an auto version, but the one that Credit Karma produces, the one that Credit Karma has on its website, are the review scores, just like FICO's review scores that are given to you by your bank or your credit card company and saying, hey, would you like to see your FICO score? Those are review scores. Rarely are they approval scores. So you got to know everything. For some of you who might be watching, this might sound like a foreign language, but the more you know about this, the more exciting it's becoming, because I don't care if a score, I don't care who is a legitimate score. Welcome VantageScore if lenders are using it to approve you. The difference is that fundability principles do not change. It doesn't matter who the record keeper is. It's the rules of the game that matter, not the score. So I want to make sure everybody who's listening that is clear on this. If another scoring model, let's say Vantage, is used by Fannie or Freddie, yay. But the scoring model, it only scores how well you're playing the funding game. It does not make up the rules of the funding game. That is left to lender software. Everybody with me? That's left to lender software. So lenders now are even precluding the use of FICO scores, because FICO scores require that you already be part of the system. And guys, I promise you, you're going to hear more and more of this, not just for me, but in the news markets. I'm telling you, there's going to be a gold rush of lenders adopting methodologies to address these 50 million underserved borrowers. Straight up, it's happening, and it's just going to get more, higher and higher momentum and greater impact. So watch for it. Good news is the principles of fundability don't change, and I'm straight up excited to be able to expand our access. In fact, right now we are building, for the end of the year, we are building an education platform to be able to address every single borrower, potential borrower, or 16-year-old who's in high school trying to learn the principles of finance and fundability and borrower education. We're producing this massive library of education so that you, so your kids, your friends, family, your associates, we're going to be making it available in a number of different exciting ways to be shared with you later. But this massive library of education, I'm building this library to address everybody, including and especially the folks who've never had access to intel on borrowing in the first place. Part of the reason why the credit invisibles and the underserved and potential borrowers, they're going to rent to owns, they're going to loan sharks, they're going to payday loans, they're going to the cash, the car title loans. They're going there because they don't know better, and no one has taught them the rules of the game, and the less expensive money has not been available. Well, the principles of fundability are, I'm just excited. We've got great things planned so that we can continue to expand into the marketplace and address all the current participants in the traditional credit marketplace. We want to continue to inspire and empower current borrowers and make sure that future borrowers, potential borrowers, know the rules of the game, so that when no matter what is being measured, you know exactly what to do and how to do it. I'm so excited. And this Wall Street Journal, I'll put the link into the comments, but I am telling you, I'm thrilled by this, because more and more and more articles are coming out that are pushing principles of fundability. They don't use the word fundability because we kind of co-opted that word and are making it our battle cry. Get fundable. But the principles behind it, the engine that measures, is measuring your borrower behaviors, guys. Your borrower behaviors are becoming more and more impacted, and those are what are being measured, not your credit score. So you heard it here first, second, and third. Where I'm thrilled to be able to just keep you updated that I don't know, everything's going the way of fundability. And while I adore FICO, love FICO, but part of the reason why I've spent so much time and energy and making sure that I am FICO savvy is because FICO is the only real game in town that did any measurements. Whoever's doing the measuring that's being used for your funding approvals, that is who I'm going to be studying. So if Vantage starts having a Vantage World, you know I'm going to be to Vantage World, just like I go to FICO World and play the game, so that you have a seat at the table, because I have a seat at the table. This is Merrill Chandler. I am thrilled to share this exciting news with you. Fundability is becoming more and more important. Make sure you play this game by the fundability rules, and you will not go wrong. We'll talk to you soon.